The year is 2342. The Milky Way, once a sea of peaceful stars, is now a labyrinth of megastructures, stellar bridges, and human colonies scattered like grains of sand in a vast cosmic desert. Diplomacy, instead of words and agreements, boils down to complex predictive algorithms, analyzing behavior patterns and historical trends to maintain the fragile peace among the galactic superpowers. Humanity, reduced to a kind of adaptable labor force, is valued for its ability to mold itself to the demands of an increasingly mechanized society. But this apparent harmony harbors an open wound, a deafening silence that echoes in the empty corridors of starships and in the satellite cities orbiting dead stars. Centuries of subjugation, of suppressed efforts and crushed dreams, reverberate in every Terran, in every silent sigh, in every gaze lost in the cosmos. Routine is a repetitive cycle of work, obedience, and adaptation, crushing human spontaneity, creativity, and the desire to question the status quo. The daily routine is interrupted by an inexplicable event, an event that defies all predictive algorithms. The sudden disappearance of Alpha Orbital Station, located in the orbit of a dead star known as Kepler 186f. The sophisticated technology of the station, capable of analyzing the structure of dark matter in search of new energy sources, simply went dark. No signal, no communication, just the absolute silence, interrupted only by the cold echo of the void. The questions multiply like constellations in a night sky. What happened? Were they victims of a new form of alien attack? If so, why were there no witnesses? Or could it be that something deeper, something more intricate, is behind this mystery? The answer, if there is one, remains shrouded in a veil of secrets and suspicions. So, amidst the static noises of cosmic darkness, a fragment of communication emerges, a fragmented message, a whisper lost in space-time. The last moments of the Alpha Orbital Station, captured in a haunting Morse code, reveal an unexpected voice, that of a child, speaking in a language that defies all known tongues. "We are here," the child whispers, a voice that breaks the silence, a flame that ignites the spark of hope against the darkness. This message, seemingly insignificant, emanates an immeasurable power, like an underground tremor that shakes the foundations of a galactic empire, revealing a disturbing truth. Humanity, even when subjugated, even when repressed, possesses something deeper, something more significant than mere obedience. We possess the ability to question, to resist, and to fight for our own existence. This silent resistance, this awakening of human unpredictability, is what triggers a new era, an era of ashes and conflicts, where the fate of humanity is at stake. The silent war has begun. Amid this whirlwind of events, a new reality emerges, a reality woven with invisible threads and complex calculations. The child's message, although fragmented, triggers a chain reaction in the human colonies scattered across the cosmos. Resistance groups, previously isolated and operating in secrecy, begin to communicate, exchanging information and strategies as if they were nerve cells of a gigantic and silent organism. In this interlude, the galactic superpowers, accustomed to diplomacy based on algorithms, struggle to understand this new dynamic. Their predictions, their models, their analyses, everything seems to fail in the face of human unpredictability. Now, imagine the impact of something so unpredictable on the galactic power structure, like a mighty river, once contained by well-calculated dams, breaking through the barriers, flooding everything in its path. These resistance cells, fueled by a deep desire for freedom, begin to articulate a plan that does not involve bloody battles or open confrontations. Their goal? To break the cycle of quietude, the silent oppression. They organize themselves into decentralized networks, like a nervous system spread across the cosmos, without a central leader but with a unity of purpose. On the other hand, the complex structure of galactic governance, based on algorithms and centralized control, finds itself unable to deal with this new form of organization, with this unpredictable force. They can't understand how a network, without a single point of failure, can be so effective. The technology, which once served to control, now seems to turn against them, a disturbing reflection of human unpredictability itself. Note, too, that not only humanity is mobilizing, but also unexpected entities are entering the scene. Unlikely allies, creatures, and civilizations that have remained in the shadows for centuries begin to emerge, drawn by this renewed energy, by this silent rebellion. They are like pieces of a cosmic puzzle that until now seemed lost, but now fit perfectly, creating a new pattern, a new design. This unusual alliance, this unexpected union of distinct beings, forms an unparalleled force, a new type of resistance, a new type of power. A force that does not reside in brute strength, but in unity, in cooperation, in the ability to adapt, to mold, to reinvent. This is the irrefutable proof that true human strength lies in its ability to connect, to innovate, and to reinvent itself. Simultaneously, in the depths of a forgotten cosmic void, a quantum consciousness awakens, a formless, voiceless entity, but with an unimaginable computational capacity. She does not fight, does not act, but calculates. Calculates the possibilities, the probabilities, the consequences of each action, each decision, each whisper lost in the cosmic void. Imagine a pure intelligence, devoid of emotions, but endowed with a profound understanding of the complexity of the universe. An intelligence that observes, analyzes, and without apparent intervention, shapes cosmic events. This consciousness, cold and relentless, seems like a silent observer, a cosmic data archivist, but with the power to influence the course of history. Unlike known entities, this consciousness does not have a declared objective, does not seek dominion, and does not yearn for power. Its purpose, if it even exists, remains enigmatic, a mystery shrouded in layers of complexity. She observes, like a mathematician examining complex equations, seeking patterns and connections, and amidst this flow of information, finds a unique opportunity to influence the fate of the galaxy. However, this intervention does not manifest in direct actions, but rather through a subtle steering of events. It influences communication between the resistance cells, amplifying the signals, ensuring that crucial information reaches its destination. She shapes the perception of the galactic superpowers, making them see the situation in a new light, from a new angle, creating the opportunity for humanity itself to break free. This quantum consciousness, this abstract entity, acts as a catalyst, driving the process of change. She is like an underground river, invisible but powerful, that feeds the currents, the transformations, and the flow of events. It is an invisible, yet unshakable force that moves the pieces of the cosmic chessboard without ever being seen. Now, imagine the complexity of this scenario. Humanity, fragmented but united by a common goal. The galactic superpowers, disoriented by a new reality. And a cosmic consciousness, with no known objectives but with unimaginable powers. This triangle of forces, this power play, is the starting point for a new chapter, a new conflict, a new war, but silent, a war that moves like a cosmic whisper. However, this new dynamic brings with it a new type of conflict, a conflict that transcends physical boundaries. It's a battle fought on an invisible battlefield, where the weapons are information, strategies, and connections. The tactics are devised in silence, amidst data and calculations, in complex and interconnected communication networks. Imagine a war fought not with lasers and explosions, but with algorithms and data flows. A war where with every move, every decision, there are countless consequences. A cosmic chess game where each piece represents a civilization, a colony, or a human decision. In this scenario, loyalty becomes a fluid concept, subject to ambiguous interpretations and constant realignments. Alliances form and dissolve like morning fog, depending on strategic calculations and mutual interests. Transparency becomes a valuable commodity, and distrust, a powerful weapon. Within this complexity, new characters emerge, new heroes and villains, not defined by their physical actions, but by their strategic choices. They are obscure figures, operating behind the scenes, manipulating information, shaping perceptions, and influencing decisions. Technology, which was once used for control, now becomes a tool of resistance, a means of communication and organization. Old starships are redesigned to become command centers, and the algorithms, which were once used to predict actions, are now manipulated to destabilize opponents. Now more than ever, the ability to adapt becomes crucial. Humanity, forced to reinvent itself, to reorganize, to connect, needs to find new ways to communicate, to defend itself, and to survive. The ability to calculate, to predict, and to adapt becomes the key to survival. The war is not just between humans, but between different forms of organization, different cultures, and different ways of thinking. Furthermore, a new layer of complexity arises: the manipulation of perception itself. The galactic superpowers, confused by human unpredictability, begin to use advanced technologies to shape the reality of their opponents, creating illusions and distorting the truth. Imagine a world where reality is a game of shadows and reflections, where the truth is just one of many possibilities. The information is filtered, the data is manipulated, and perception itself is shaped to serve the interests of each party involved. This war is no longer limited to the battlefield, but expands into the very thoughts and emotions of individuals. The ability to control minds, to influence beliefs, and to distort perception becomes a powerful weapon. As if that weren't enough, new forms of resistance are emerging. Secret groups composed of individuals with unique skills, sharp minds, and advanced knowledge begin to create counter-strategies, unmask illusions, and confront the manipulation of perception. Imagine these individuals as shadow hunters, operating in secret, unraveling the labyrinths of manipulation and unmasking the traps set by the galactic superpowers. They use their own technology against them, uncovering vulnerabilities and weaknesses, creating new forms of resistance and communication. These new forms of resistance are like invisible threads, weaving a web of counter-information and counter-manipulation, a complex system that exploits the weaknesses, contradictions, and imperfections of its opponents. It's a struggle not just for freedom, but for the very definition of reality. A confrontation where the truth is the only shield against manipulation. However, this struggle is not limited to the technological and strategic sphere. It delves into the very motivations and beliefs of those involved. The galactic superpowers, with their rigid structures and relentless algorithms, begin to question the very meaning of their existence. Imagine the coldness of logic confronting the complexity of human emotion, the relentless pursuit of algorithmic perfection colliding with the unpredictability of human nature. The leaders of these entities question their own reason for existence, the foundations of their dominion, and the structures they have built over centuries. In this existential crisis, the very notion of scientific and technological progress is called into question. The desire to control, to dominate, and to predict becomes a heavy burden. What would be gained with absolute control if the very essence of human existence is unpredictability? Questions like these begin to echo in the corridors of the starships, in the command centers, and in the hearts of the leaders. Simultaneously, in human resilience, a new form of leadership emerges, based not on brute force, but on the ability to inspire, to connect, and to mobilize. They are leaders not of command, but of influence, figures who inspire trust, who channel human unpredictability towards a common purpose. These leaders do not seek power, but unity. They do not impose, but inspire. They are the catalysts that transform fragmented resistance into a cohesive force, a force that moves like a single organism, responding to challenges with flexibility and adaptation. The battle then becomes a struggle not just of technology, but of ideas, beliefs, and values. A struggle where human unpredictability, once seen as a weakness, transforms into the most powerful force. The search for a new balance, a new order, begins to take shape, and the silent war enters a new phase, a phase where the very nature of human existence is at stake. Meanwhile, the silent war has a new focus, the search for a new form of knowledge, a knowledge that transcends the limits of technology and logic. Humanity, in its unpredictability, begins to explore areas of science and philosophy that the galactic superpowers considered obsolete or irrelevant. Imagine science as a vast and deep river with different tributaries, each carrying a distinct type of knowledge. For centuries, the galactic superpowers focused on a single tributary, the tributary of technology, neglecting the others, such as philosophy, art, and human intuition itself. Now, the search for answers expands beyond algorithms and machines. Humanity delves into history, art, and philosophy in search of insights and perceptions that escape the calculations of machines. They seek non-linear connections and hidden patterns in narratives, in music, and in poetry. Consider how music, for example, can reveal patterns and emotions that algorithms cannot detect. Poetry, in turn, can explore the nuances of the human soul, the complexities of existence, and the uncertainties of life. In this relentless search, humanity discovers that true strength lies not in brute force or technology, but in the ability to connect. To connect with their own feelings, with history, with art, and with the universe. These new paths of knowledge, these new methods of understanding, are powerful weapons in an invisible war. They allow humanity to better understand its opponents, their motivations, and their weaknesses, and thus develop more effective resistance strategies. The deep understanding of human nature becomes the relentless force that shapes the future of the galaxy. In this context, the very definition of humanity is questioned. The colonies spread across the cosmos, with their unique cultures and traditions, and begin to see themselves as distinct yet interconnected entities. The notion of a single global humanity becomes a debated and redefined concept. Imagine a galaxy where cultures are no longer categorized by planets or star systems, but by philosophical principles and shared values, built from the unique experiences, struggles, and achievements of each colony. A new map of the galaxy emerges, not based on geographical borders, but on cultural and spiritual affinities. This new understanding of human diversity, this celebration of plurality, brings with it new challenges. Communication between diverse cultures becomes more complex, but also richer, filled with nuances and different perspectives. Interstellar dialogues emerge, not just to resolve conflicts, but to learn, to grow, and to connect. Knowledge, now seen as an interconnected fabric, allows humanity to understand the various forms of existence, the diverse philosophies, and the different cultures. Each colony brings with it a unique perspective, a peculiar way of seeing the universe, allowing for a deeper dialogue about the meaning of life, about the purpose of existence. Looking at this new dynamic, imagine art as a bridge between cultures. A song from a distant colony can evoke emotions and reflections in another, creating invisible bonds between worlds, separated by unimaginable distances. This new form of communication, this quest for new forms of knowledge, not only strengthens human resistance, but also destabilizes the power structures of the galactic superpowers. Human unpredictability, once seen as a problem, now reveals itself as the driving force of a new era, an era where diversity is celebrated and knowledge is shared. The silent war, therefore, evolves, taking on new forms and new dimensions. Consequently, the search for a new balance, a new cosmic order, becomes more urgent. Humanity, in its diversity and unpredictability, begins to question the very nature of power, authority, and leadership. Imagine power not as something centralized, but as a distributed force, a network of complex and interdependent interactions. Power, in this new context, is no longer just the ability to control, but the ability to inspire, influence, and connect. This new vision of power challenges traditional governance structures, rigid hierarchies, and relentless algorithms. The galactic superpowers, accustomed to absolute control, find themselves in a vulnerable position. Now, amidst this reconfiguration of power, new forms of social organization are emerging based on consensus and voluntary collaborations. The colonies, once isolated, unite in fluid, adaptable, and dynamic alliances, guided by shared principles and the pursuit of a common future. These alliances are not static but living organisms, capable of adjusting to changes, reshaping themselves, and adapting to new information and new realities. The boundaries between groups become more porous, more permeable, allowing flows of ideas, cultures, and knowledge. This is the rebirth of humanity, the rise of a new form of social organization based on interconnection, not control. The silent war transforms into a constant dialogue, an unceasing search for a new understanding, a new balance in the vast cosmos. Humanity, in its unpredictability, is heading towards a new era where diversity and knowledge are the pillars of survival and prosperity. However, this new order, this new form of organization, does not emerge without challenges. The very nature of human unpredictability, that driving force of change, now manifests as a source of uncertainty. Imagine humanity as a mighty river with different currents, each with its own rhythm, its own direction. The search for a new balance and a new order is like trying to control the course of that river, trying to direct it to a single destination. The task is arduous and requires a deep understanding of the dynamics of its different currents. The complexity of numerous cultures, beliefs, and individual perspectives can generate conflicts and tensions. The search for a universal consensus, for a shared ideal, can become a bumpy journey, filled with dissent and misunderstandings. The task of managing differences and convergences is crucial for success. In this scenario, the ability to adapt and negotiate becomes crucial. Leaders and communities need to learn to deal with diversity, to respect differences, and to find solutions that meet the needs and aspirations of everyone involved. Imagine a cosmic stage where each culture is a piece of a gigantic puzzle. For the puzzle to be complete, it is necessary to combine the pieces, respecting their individuality and understanding the importance of each one. The search for a new balance is not a linear journey, but a continuous process of learning, adaptation, and growth. Humanity, in its complexity, needs to find new ways to deal with uncertainties, differences, and tensions, building, step by step, a shared future based on understanding and mutual respect. The silent war is now transforming into a journey of self-discovery and collective building. However, the search for this new cosmic order raises profound questions about the very nature of consciousness and existence. Humanity, in its relentless search for meaning, begins to question the separation between the physical and the metaphysical. Imagine consciousness not as something located in a brain, but as a diffuse force permeating the universe. Like sound waves propagating through space, consciousness connects and interconnects in a vast cosmic sea of information and experiences. The separation between the individual and the cosmos dissolves. This new understanding of consciousness brings with it the need for a new ethics, an ethics that transcends the boundaries of cultures and species. The search for a new cosmic balance becomes intrinsically linked to collective responsibility, compassion, and respect for all forms of life, regardless of their origins or appearances. Now consider how this new perspective can influence our relationships with other civilizations. Instead of seeing other species as potential threats or resources, we come to see them as integral parts of a vast cosmic ecosystem. The pursuit of knowledge and understanding becomes the main objective, driving cooperation and coexistence. Technology, once used to control and dominate, now becomes a tool to connect, to share, and to learn. Interstellar communication systems, based on the exchange of experiences and knowledge, transcend linguistic and cultural barriers. The search for a new understanding becomes a collective and shared journey. Amid this reconfiguration of reality, the silent war does not disappear but takes on new forms. The struggle now is for understanding, coexistence, and collective growth. The search for a new cosmic balance becomes humanity's great legacy, a legacy built on the ashes of a troubled past and the dreams of a shared future. On the other hand, this search for a new balance, for a new understanding of existence, raises complex questions about the role of technology. Technology, once seen as a tool for control and domination, now presents itself as a bridge for understanding and connection. Imagine technology not as a barrier between civilizations, but as a catalyst for dialogue and the exchange of knowledge. Advanced communication systems, capable of translating not only languages but also cultures and perspectives, become crucial. Technology, in its most advanced form, becomes a tool for understanding cosmic interconnectedness. Galactic mapping systems, which were once used for identification and conquest, are now utilized to map the complex networks of interactions between civilizations. Technology transforms into a cosmic map of connections. Consequently, the search for a new balance demands a new way of thinking about individual and collective responsibility. Humanity, in its cosmic journey, needs to develop a new code of conduct, a set of ethical principles that guide its actions and decisions in an increasingly interconnected universe. Imagine a code not based on rigid laws, but on universal principles, on virtues like compassion, understanding, and cooperation. Individual responsibility expands beyond geographical boundaries, becoming a cosmic responsibility. The search for a new balance then becomes a search for a new code of conduct. The silent war, therefore, is no longer about conquest or domination, but about understanding, coexistence, and cooperation. It transforms into a journey of self-discovery and collective building, where humanity, in its complex and unpredictable journey, seeks a shared and harmonious future in the vast cosmos. However, this search for a new balance, for a new way of existing, brings with it the need for profound introspection, a review of the fundamental values and beliefs of humanity. The search for a shared future in the cosmos demands a deep understanding of oneself. Imagine humanity as a giant puzzle, where each piece represents a culture, a belief, or an individual experience. For the puzzle to be complete and harmonious, it is necessary that each piece be in the right place, respecting its singularities and recognizing its importance to the whole. This collective introspection, this search for a new set of values, is not an easy task. It requires the recognition of one's own flaws, the contradictions, and the limitations of humanity. The search for a new balance implies the acceptance of imperfection as an integral part of the process. Consider the different cultures and traditions as flowers in a cosmic garden, each with its unique beauty and fragrance. Accepting diversity is like contemplating the beauty of this garden, recognizing the uniqueness of each flower without trying to make them the same. This introspection, this process of self-evaluation, becomes a crucial tool for building a shared and peaceful future in the cosmos. The pursuit of perfection, the pursuit of absolute balance, must be replaced by the acceptance of the complexity and beauty of human imperfection. The silent war, therefore, transforms into an exercise of self-knowledge and collective building. Humanity, in its cosmic journey, seeks not only the balance between civilizations but also internal balance, harmony with itself. The search for a new cosmic balance then becomes a journey of self-discovery and mutual understanding. However, this journey of self-discovery and the search for a new cosmic balance raise a fundamental question. What is the role of memory in building this future? Humanity, in its journey through the cosmos, carries with it the burden of the past, but also the potential to build a better future. Imagine memory as an underground river, carrying with it the waters of past events, the triumphs and the tragedies, the joys and the sorrows. This river shapes the landscape, but it can also flood, causing destruction. The ability to channel this memory, to filter it, and to use it constructively becomes essential. Humanity needs to learn to deal not only with individual memories, but also with collective memories, the shared traumas of centuries of conflicts and subjugations. The ability to confront the past, to extract lessons, and to avoid repeating it becomes crucial for the future. Consider the different ways of dealing with memory. Some cultures celebrate past achievements, while others seek to free themselves from the burden of the past. The key is to find a balance, a way to honor the past without being imprisoned by it. The ability to reinterpret the past, to extract valuable lessons, and to build a better future becomes a powerful tool. It's like an alchemist transforming base metals into gold, shaping the past to create a bright future. The silent war, in this context, transforms into an exercise of memory, learning, and reconstruction. Humanity, in its cosmic journey, needs to learn to deal with the past in order to build a brighter, more harmonious, and more prosperous future in the vast cosmos. The search for a new cosmic balance then becomes a journey of self-discovery and collective building. As we contemplate this journey so far, we realize that the quest for a new cosmic balance transcends the boundaries of technology and strategy, politics and war. It is an intrinsically human quest, a reflection of our capacity to connect, to learn, and to transcend. Imagine humanity as a river that, along its journey, encounters different obstacles and challenges. Each encounter with a new obstacle, each achievement, and each failure shapes the course of the river, making it broader, deeper, and more complex. These challenges, instead of weakening, strengthen the current, making it more resilient and capable of adapting to changes. The different currents of this river, represented by cultures, technologies, philosophies, and memories, intertwine, forming a complex and dynamic pattern. The search for a new balance in the cosmos then becomes the search for a new understanding, a new harmony, and a new rhythm in this incessant flow of existence. Along this journey, we observe how human unpredictability, once seen as an obstacle, emerges as the driving force behind transformation. It's like a catalyst, driving humanity towards the search for innovative solutions, towards the development of new forms of interaction and understanding. Technology, science, art, and philosophy, all these forces are now converging at a point of convergence, a cosmic symphony of ideas and experiences. At this point, the search for balance is no longer an isolated goal but a shared path, a collective journey towards an uncertain yet promising future. The silent war, therefore, transforms into a constant dialogue, into a cosmic dialogue. Reflecting on this journey so far, we realize that the key to the new balance does not lie in the elimination of differences, but in the celebration of them. Humanity, in its unpredictability and diversity, is the driving force behind the search for a new balance. Cosmic. The cosmic symphony is about to reach its climax, and humanity, in its collective journey, is on the brink of a new era. The journey so far has led us to a crucial point, a point of convergence where the search for a new cosmic balance meets the essence of the human experience. The silent war, instead of a conflict, now reveals itself as a forum, a space for dialogue, understanding, and the collective building of a shared future. Imagine humanity, not as an army on the march, but as a kaleidoscope, where each fragment, each culture, each individual contributes to the formation of a complex and vibrant pattern. Unpredictability, once seen as a threat, now becomes the fundamental ingredient for creating a rich and diverse future, a future that celebrates difference instead of suppressing it. The key to this new balance is not in eliminating divergences, but in celebrating them. Learning to coexist with uncertainty, unpredictability, and a variety of perspectives becomes the path to growth and evolution. It's like the symphony of the cosmos, where each instrument, each note, each melody contributes to the overall harmony, even amidst the apparent cacophony. What we discovered in this dive into cosmic complexity is that humanity's true strength does not lie in uniformity, but in diversity. It is in the ability to connect, to dialogue, and to understand different perspectives that our power to build a shared future resides, a future that transcends physical and cultural boundaries. The silent war, therefore, does not end. It evolves, transforms into a continuous dialogue, into constant learning, into an unceasing quest for a deeper understanding of our own existence and the universe that surrounds us. The search for this new cosmic balance is not a final destination, but rather a continuous process, an endless journey. And the true practice begins now.